Alright, man, peace. So, as I've stated to you, brothers, many times in the past, there are Monarch programmed athletes that are sprinkled throughout all of the various major sports, not just domestically in the United States, but globally. And the reason why they're so important to have is because they act as intermediaries, they act as agents of change, they act as diplomats many times, objects to be worshipped. You can create cults of personality around them. They can be utilized to socially engineer society, to guide people towards many of the agendas or the goals that the powers that be, the people who operate behind the curtain, want people to embrace. And based on their ability to optimize whatever they were programmed to do, that will determine how they're utilized. That will determine how they're used. They're all pretty much trained to become the best participants in their sport, but many of them are not able to reach that level. But they're still usable in other ways. We saw that with George Hill and the Black Lesbians Matter narrative that transpired last year in the quote-unquote bubble. We've seen that with many athletes, especially some of them that are used as sacrificial sheep. They're terminated or removed on certain ritualistic quote-unquote holy days that harken back to the Babylonian Kemetic Mystery School system so that they can fulfill certain necessities that will guarantee the success of that particular sport and what it's really used for, that being for the objectification of the athlete, for the creation, once again, of cults of personality that harken back to the worship of Baal, Osiris, Horus, etc. That's why so many of them are considered quote-unquote enlighteners, meaning illuminators. You follow behind them and they lead you towards your own level of understanding, higher level comprehension, through the adherence to Saturnian principles, so on and so forth. Now, every once in a while, you'll see what I call super programmed athletes or assets, meaning quote-unquote players, and please keep in mind that the term player is also synonymous with the term actor. Players, whether it be in the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, boxing, soccer, what have you, that are able to be participants or, major linchpins in everything, while also being utilized as agents of societal change. They're also great at marketing a particular product for a sponsorship or for a company. Now, Chris Paul is one of those type of athletes. Now, is he the best of the best in his sport? No. But he is in the upper crust, or he's at the upper crust of his generation. They've moved Chris around strategically throughout his career, and I do believe that he's going to end up playing out his quote-unquote Osiris ritual and ending his career with the LA Lakers. It's partially played out through his signing with the Phoenix Suns. The term Phoenix is an abbreviation for the term Phoenician, and of course, we know that the team name is the Suns. Now, he's always wanted to play with the Lakers. The term Laker is an allusion to the quote-unquote Phoenicians also, who were great mariners. That's why the team was originally in Minneapolis, or the state of lakes. Minnesota was first settled, at least by a foreign party, by the Vikings, who were so-called black men and descendants of both Hebrews as well as Canaanites. So that's why the term or the name of the various teams plays out. You had the Lakers, you had the Vikings, so on and so forth. You also have in basketball the Timberwolves. So we know that the animal that was associated, or the creature that was associated with the tribe of Benjamin, was the wolf. But just getting back to the point, I do believe that Mr. Chris Paul will end his career as a Laker or a member of the Witch Coven of Purple and Gold. We'll see what happens. I also believe that that was the reason why he was trying to throw the series between the Suns and the Lakers. There's no doubt in my mind that that is what he was trying to do, and other people have picked up on it. He is a great actor. So once again, he can be utilized for various things. It just amazes me that with his team, the Phoenix Suns, playing in the Western Conference Finals, you have two debaters on television, that being Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless, who are deliberating over whether or not Chris Paul is going to end up on the LA Lakers next season, because Magic Johnson put that out there into the atmosphere. So of course they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
A $44 million player option to remain in Phoenix next season, but Los Angeles radio shows are wondering if he could end up returning to LA, but this time as a Laker. When asked if CP3 would be a good fit for the purple and gold, Magic Johnson told a local station, quote, "No question about it. I'd tell Jeannie I'd ask for some money for CP3. It'd be perfect for LeBron, for AD, and for the role players." So
now, once again, Chris Paul turned down his option to come back to the Phoenix Suns next season, or potentially come back to the Phoenix Suns next season, which is interesting because that's basically his way of acknowledging that he's going to consider taking a pay cut to go to another team, despite the fact that he's currently on a squad that has as good a chance as any team currently left in the tournament to win a championship. Now, I thought that his goal was to win a championship. Anyone who saw how he played in the first round in that matchup against the Lakers knows that that is not the case. The overall scripted agenda always has to transcend whatever your personal goals are. Once again, in every sports league, there are anywhere from 15 to 40 actors, scripted participants who have to make sure that the narratives come to fulfillment. They don't always come to fulfillment. Once again, these guys are not gods. The Phoenix Suns won that series in the first round, despite the overt attempts by Chris Paul to throw the series or potentially throw the series. I have no doubt about that. And when Monty Williams started to really catch wind of what Chris Paul was obviously trying to do, because he watches film. I mean, for the most part, we just watch the games. He watches film. So he knows that despite the fact that Chris Paul's shoulder was allegedly hurt, his decision-making on the court was atrocious. He was consistently and obviously making purposeful passes into double teams and towards defenders to cause turnovers. That's why he was pulled out of the starting lineup. And that's why his backup was placed, I believe his backup's name is Cameron Payne, was placed in the starting lineup. And once Cameron Payne was placed in there, they were blowing the Lakers off of the basketball floor. This notion that had the Lakers been healthy, they would have defeated the Suns, that's nonsense. The only reason why they won the 2 games that they won is because Chris Paul was throwing the games. And of course, everything that I'm saying is alleged, and it's just based on my own personal perceptions.
What do you think? How would he fit with LeBron?
He'd be a great fit, Skip. I was a little hesitant at first because I was like, well, dang, what does CP3 have left? But he showed that he has some years left. And plus, Skip, it would take LeBron off the ball. It would take some of that. Because we saw what happened with Kevin Durant. When you have to bring the ball up every single time, when you have to initiate the offense the majority of the time, it takes its toll on you.
Well, it does take its toll on you, but we also have to understand that the reason why Kevin Durant was so worn down was not just physical, it was mental. He was passing the basketball to his teammates and they were not making shots. In Game 5, when he had one of arguably the top 5 games in the history of the postseason, he played the entire game, but he did not appear winded at the end of the game because he actually had teammates that were making shots. In Game 7, for whatever reason, I guess that Steve Nash got Joe Harris confused with Larry Bird or something. He just left him out there on the floor, despite the fact that he was bringing nothing to the table offensively or defensively. He should have brought in Landry Shamet, but due to the fact that Kevin Durant received no help in Game 7, that caused a lot of consternation in his mind and added anxiety, knowing that it was all on him, because we know that James Hardhead, when the pressure moments come, he's going to fold up. So that's the reason why he got so tired, Shannon Sharpe. It wasn't just because he was bringing the damn ball up.
Use that Kevin Durant had on Saturday night.
No, we can't use that.
You just said that.
No, but you say that LeBron. When LeBron's been doing that for 18 years.
Everything with this guy's about LeBron James. Shannon Sharpe already knows that the reason why Kevin Durant struggled in overtime is because of the fatigue that he suffered, the mental fatigue that he suffered, having no help. But he's always concerned about playing lawyer for LeBron James. I really hope that however much money Clutch Sports is paying him is worth it. I just, it would just be so interesting to me if LeBron James and Clutch Sports and Shannon Sharpe and some of these other assets that they have in the media get exposed. Once again, everything that I'm saying is alleged. But it's so obvious that, they have their hands, Clutch Sports, they have their hands in the pockets of some of these guys on TV.
Just saying, it would take LeBron. I want to see LeBron off the ball when all he has to worry about is scoring.
Yeah, if you see LeBron James off the ball, it might be revealed to you things that we've known for ages, that being that he is not a good off-the-ball basketball player. He does not like to move without the ball. He does not like to set picks. All of that might be revealed, how one-dimensional LeBron James actually is on offense. Nothing against the brother. The things that he does well, he does extremely well. But when it comes to off-the-ball play, he's never been good.
All this talking over there, this guy won this many scoring titles, and that guy won that many scoring titles.
LeBron James will never win another scoring title, Shannon Sharpe. To win a scoring title in this NBA, you have to average 32 or 33 points per game. Whoever wins the scoring title is going to average somewhere around 31 to 33 points per game, whether it be Stephen Curry, Bradley Beal, or whoever. LeBron James does not have the stamina to do that anymore. And even if you bring on Chris Paul, you would have to expect that he would be averaging somewhere around 16 to 18 points per game. You're also going to have an Anthony Davis who one would expect to average somewhere around 23 to 26 points per game. LeBron will never have the opportunity to win a scoring title, so you can forget about that.
10 to LeBron's 1, and you're saying LeBron's the GOAT over Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
It's more than scoring.
Okay.
It's more than scoring.
Yes, it's also winning championships and winning Defensive Player of the Years and being on all defensive teams, in which Michael Jordan still has to edge Shannon Sharp.
This would allow LeBron to play off the ball in his last couple of years. I think LeBron's going to play probably 3 more years.
That's what we said last night at the dinner table. I said, nigga, how many more years you trying to play? And he said, maybe 2 or 3 more years, baby. I said, okay, good, because we need you at home with our family. I'm going to say it again. We need you at home with our family. Stop flying around the country just sitting, popping random bitches. We need you here.
Get him off the ball and allow him, because he trusts CP3 wholeheartedly. Because he knows CP3 can run the offense. He's a guy that has a mind just like his. And so this would definitely help LeBron, help AD. I don't know if help the role players, because I think we need some new role players.
Once again, why are we talking about CP3 signing with the LA Lakers when he's currently on a squad that is 3 games away from making an appearance in the NBA Finals, which would be Chris Paul's first? One would think that if CP3 decided that no, he's not going to enact the option on his contract, that it would be to renegotiate with the Phoenix Suns. Why would the Lakers suddenly be in play? Unless that's where he wanted to end up the whole time, and the media has always known about this.
He make no shots. Everybody else role players can make shots, except Brooklyn and the Lakers. Everybody else be raining 3. We see the Clippers role players come in. Terrence Mann had a career day.
That's one of the greatest performances that I've ever seen. The LA Clippers in the second half of Game 6 against the Utah Jazz. That was incredible.
All right, come in raining 3. Everybody was making 3. We didn't make none. We the only team that got worse in the playoffs from 3, and we was already a bad 3-point shooting team. And we got worse come playoff time. But I agree with Matthew. True to go. We done tried. We offered you 20. They offered him 4 years, $84 million, and he wants more than that. And I hope he gets it. Just not with the Lakers. So
he gonna end up on the Knicks or something like that.
Maybe we can trade him to Phoenix, but it's gonna be hard to get CP3 out of Phoenix if they win a championship. I don't see that happening.
Okay.
I hope not. We'll see. I really hope that I'm wrong, and there may be some mitigating circumstances where CP3 is forced to acknowledge that it would look too glaring for me to go to the Lakers. You understand? I mean, especially with him being the head of the Players Association. For him to take that big of a pay cut just to end up on the LA Lakers, it would look like he had been conspiring with them for a while. So things might not play out how they wanted to. As I always state, there is a script, but they have to make amendments and corrections to the script sometimes to keep the play going.
I have told you from the start, and I stand by what I believe. LeBron James was born to play point guard. He's still the best passer in basketball.
No, he's not. The best passer in basketball right now is CP3, and also right alongside of him, Mr. Trae Young. As a matter of fact, Trae Young might be the best passer in the entire NBA. His passes are elite. That's the only thing that Trae Young does at an elite level, is pass.
As he goes running the show. When they won in the bubble, it was LeBron running the point and vibing and playing off AD. They're a great fit together. And I would not take LeBron off the ball.
I would.
And if you bring Chris Paul in, he has to play point. He is a true, pure point guard. He's not a 2-guard masquerading as.
No, you're true. He's old school point.
He is as old school as you can get. And he doesn't have a whole lot of lift, so he's got a sort of oomph.
He's got good enough lift. CP3 was in the All-Star game just this past season dunking, catching alley-oops from Stephen Curry. So he has plenty of lift.
His little elbow jump shot.
Okay, we're good.
So there's no 2-guard in him. If you don't honor him, he can score on you.
Will he be an upgrade over Schroeder?
Okay, but you need a better Schroeder at 2. You need a Devin Booker type. Obviously, you can't snap your fingers and get Devin Booker. Okay.
Can we get Dame?
Okay. Well, is he a 2?
No, we need Dame. Dame can play anything.
Okay. Well,
can you imagine Braun at the point and Dame?
Okay. Well, so would Dame be happy just shooting his step backs and his?
He'll be happy.
Okay.
He's gonna be happy winning a championship. Get this 27.
Okay, I'll buy that a little more than I buy this, because Chris is going to have the ball in his hands, and LeBron might like that.
I'm trying to figure out, why is it that they're always involving LeBron James in these super team scenarios? I thought that the narrative on LeBron James that the media tries to promote is that, you know, he latches the rest of the train to his engine, and he's the little engine that could. And every season he takes a no-talent team to the NBA Finals. Isn't that the narrative that they try to promote for LeBron James when they compare him to Kevin Durant? They say, well, KD has all this help. You know, LeBron does it all by himself. I'm trying to figure out, what NBA have they been watching for the last 10 years? This nigga LeBron James has been on a super team literally every season other than his first season with the Lakers and his last season with the Cavaliers. Every year he's been on a super team. So what the hell are they watching?
Off his
Didn't he
shoulders.
say he wanted to play? Didn't he say he wanted a situation where all...
And I'll give him this. I'll give LeBron this. This past season, where he was just knocked out of the playoffs by the Phoenix Suns, I'll say that he was not on a super team. I will say that he was just on a highly competitive team because they had a duo with the Lakers. And basically every team in the NBA had a duo until the Brooklyn Nets made the trade for James Harden. So I'll give him this season as not being a member of a quote-unquote super team. But we see what happens to him when he's not on a super team. He gets knocked out of the playoffs in the first round, or he doesn't even make the damn playoffs.
Now, I don't know how they get Melo here. D Wade is retired. He's doing great in his post NBA career life.
D Wade, another scripted character. Everything is provided for him. The reason why they allowed him to become a co-owner, or at least I shouldn't even say a co-owner, because he's one of those mascots. They were giving out those mascot deals 10 years ago. Remember that? When they would have all the black celebrities, quote-unquote, purchase 0.01% of the franchise and then give them half-court seats and shit like that. Jay-Z and Usher and those type people. They're doing that with D Wade in Utah because Utah is probably considered the most conservative NBA city. So if you confront the conservatism of Utah with the flagrant, quote-unquote, progressive super liberalism of Dwayne Wade and his husband/wife, Gabrielle, a.k.a. Gabrielle Union, they're hoping to force some societal change in Utah, especially working in tandem with that new owner, as well as Donovan Mitchell. So that's the reason why D Wade is there. And plus, he hosts this ridiculous show, The Cube, which so many brothers understand is obviously talking about Saturn's cube.
3 is a possibility.
Okay, I can't fathom how you can fit if he wants $50 million a year.
No, he don't want to. He don't get.
He's not going to get $50 million a year, and that's what's interesting about the fact that he turned down his own player options. And even Skip Bayless is wondering about this. It's like, why would you turn down a player option when you do to make over $40 million next year to try to head to the Lakers and sign a new contract when you already know that at best you'll probably be getting $20 million a year, $25 million a year, and you're the head of the NBA's Players Association? You're always supposed to be looking for the best deal for yourself. So why would you do that? And plus, on top of that, you're a member of a squad that is 3 games away from the NBA championship. And once again, he has not been the catalyst for the Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker has been. But they're giving him all the credit because, once again, he's one of the major players, not just in basketball, but in professional sports. That's why they utilize him for the State Farm commercials, where he gets to show his multiple personality disorder. Things of that sort, or where they allude to it. You understand? He's been linked up with LeBron James, D Wade, Carmelo Anthony, 3 other Luciferians, because he's a very important piece in the NBA. So the fact that it's very clear that they want to move him to the LA Lakers is very obvious that they're playing out an Osiris ritual the same way with LeBron James. Now, whether or not he'll end there, we'll see. But just the fact that, you know, at first when they tried to move him to LA, it didn't quite work. So now he's ended up on the quote-unquote Phoenix Suns should let you know where they're trying to have him end his career.
He's going to have to turn down 44 from Phoenix.
But see, that's 44 for 1 year. What if we give you 3 years for, say, 90?
Are you willing to risk that?
Right, but he could still get $44 million next year and sign a 2-year, $60 million contract, and he'd be making more money. So there's no scenario where what you're saying makes more sense, Shannon Sharp.
Occasionally looks old now.
They don't look old now to me.
He doesn't.
Don't look old now to me.
So you're willing in the 2nd and 3rd year to eat some of that if you have to eat it?
I have to.
Really?
Yeah.
Just for one more championship for LeBron?
Okay, how about we do
barring injury, I don't see any scenario where you're going to consider yourself having to eat part of Chris Paul's contract. His basketball IQ is so high. He's always going to be a great asset out there on the floor, especially, assuming that he takes care of his body how he appears to be taking care of his body, going vegan and making sure that his temple is clean, things of that sort. I just don't see him ever being a real liability out there on the floor, barring, catastrophic injury.
3 years for 75.
3 years for 75? Would he do that? That's not that much money.
That is about a lot of money.
Really?
But that's 2 extra years.
Okay.
Right, but once again, that's assuming that he couldn't get 2 extra years, even if he accepted the option on his current contract. That's the real question. Why would you, as the head of the NBA's Players Association, turn down a $44 million option on your own contract, knowing that you're not going to go anywhere to sign a deal like that anywhere close per year? It makes no sense whatsoever. I also find it very interesting that on the day after Mr. Kal Nassib announces that he's a homosexual, Shannon Sharpe decided that he's going to wear a pink shirt. Very interesting.
$5 million, he wasn't the guy.
Okay. Once upon a time, I thought he was going to be a Laker, and somehow it didn't.
Yeah, they did.
work.
Yeah.
I don't know. David Stern derailed it.
Magic's still upset about that.
Yeah.
Saying because of new.
Always understand something, brothers. There's more power in being covert. If Shannon Sharpe were known to be a bisexual or homosexual, and of course everything I'm saying is speculative, it wouldn't hold as much impact for him to co-sign a Kal Nassib coming out of the closet. You understand? There's more potency, there's more power in Shannon Sharpe being perceived as a heterosexual and saying, Kal Nassib, good job, rather than him just being another member of the LGBTQ and co-signing what Kal Nassib did. Then everybody would just say, well, you're gay too, of course you're going to co-sign it. Am I saying that Shannon Sharpe is necessarily a homosexual? I'm not saying that because I don't have any proof. But if you understand what you're looking at, just from a Masonic perspective or a Luciferian perspective, he gives you a lot of visual cues to let you know that, he's quote-unquote pansexual. And once again, everything I'm saying is alleged.
That Gene was telling the story on All the Smoke, how the story got out that somebody from the Lakers leaked the organization that they had a deal for Chris Paul, and the other owners got upset, said they didn't get a fair opportunity to bid, and David Stern rescinded it.
Where I do agree with you, you have to get rid of Schroeder, only because it's not that he's not talented. It's not that he can't be that two guard that you need.
Is that he's not intimidated by LeBron James. He's not willing to be a cult member in the church of LeBron. And that's the real problem with Schroeder. But I do believe that Schroeder's going to end up on the New York Knicks.
Not buy into LeBron James. He didn't buy into the Laker chemistry. He wanted to be a solo.
Yeah, he thinks he's on a level with LeBron.
That is correct. And
he's not supposed to think that he's a good player alongside LeBron, right, Shannon? He's supposed to bow down every time LeBron walks into the locker room and say, good Lord, what would you have me do in today's game to exalt you to the highest degree?
that will not work.
No, it won't work. So we gonna 86 him, and we gonna be all right. We'll be back. Skip, you do after you do see this way this thing is playing out. You do realize had we been healthy, we won the title.
I don't realize.
You realize that, right?
I do not.
Sometimes I feel like you're saying these things to
Kawhi
convince
been
yourself.
healthy, we would've won.
Yeah, right.
Even Jenny Taft was coming at Shannon Sharpe there. Shannon said, you do realize that had AD been healthy, we would have won the title. And Jenny Taft says, sometimes I think that you say that to kind of add a reassurance to yourself or prove it to yourself. Because even she knows what she was looking at. The Phoenix Suns were clearly the better team. And the only reason why they lost the 2 games that they lost to the Lakers is because CP3 threw both of them. He tried to throw whatever game it was that he first got hurt. I think it was game 1. And I believe the Phoenix Suns won that game. And then they lost the next 2 because CP3 was terrible. And Monty Williams was going to sit CP3. And that's how you know that Monty Williams saw something in the game footage when he went over the film. Well, he said to himself, this is not a shoulder issue. This is a decision-making issue with this guy. This guy is willfully throwing the ball to the other team. Because if it was just an injury issue, you just bench Chris Paul, you start Cameron Payne, and you make Chris Paul the guard who comes in off the bench. He was going to sit him for the whole game. So CP3 understood the jig was up. He said, let me go to Monty and basically guarantee him that I'm going to perform better, as he did in Game 4, and that's why the Phoenix Suns won that game. But notice in Game 5, when the Phoenix Suns were blowing out the Lakers again, all of a sudden he had this massive shoulder injury, supposedly because somebody tried to box him out. And even the player who ran into him looked at him like, nigga, what are you doing? Even LeBron, I think, was confused looking at him like, nigga, we told you to throw the series. We didn't tell you to try to be Denzel Washington out here. Like, what are you doing? And the Phoenix Suns still won that game and then came back in Game 6 and won that one too because Devin Booker came out like a house on fire. So CP3 realized, I can't help the Lakers win this. Me throwing the series is not going to be enough. Because the disparity between the two teams was so great. They would have literally needed CP3 and Devin Booker to throw the series in order for the Lakers to win. But anyway, we'll see what happens with Chris Paul after this season. So peace.